It's been great watching you guys develop over the past several years. I think our first article on you was published in November 2008. What was your main goal back then, and has that changed? What are your main goals now?
Now, when we started the project, that's already 10 years ago, we were facing the unknown. So we decided to build 2 airplanes because we were not sure that with the first airplane we would really be at the optimum position where we should be. So the first airplane was designed to be a prototype, a flying laboratory, a test airplane. The goal was to demonstrate that we can fly day and night. In 2008, it was still a big question mark. Yeah. Could we do that?
Yeah. And what have been some of the most challenging moments that stand out to you? What are some of the points in the past 10 years that really stand out as the really difficult points in this journey?
Well, there has been different ones, but there was one 2.5 years ago when we broke the main spar of the wing during the final test, and it literally exploded when we reached 100% of the load there. So that was a major blow because we did not expect that. But interestingly, it gave us also a lot of opportunities. First, it of course gave us the chance to learn a lot about this technology, but it gave us the time to bring the first airplane to the United States, and we ended up flying last year from San Francisco to New York thanks to that. And thanks to that, we also brought back a wonderful partner, which is Google. So, sometimes in life you learn that big difficulties can turn out to be major opportunities.
So that problem actually, you attribute that specific instance to what allowed you to eventually fly across the US?
Absolutely that, because if we would not have this difficulty, we would have be just in time to initiate the flight around the world, but maybe also with less experience, with less preparation. So again, I'm not sure if we would have been really ready.
But with this, lesson.
Yeah, absolutely, wonderful lesson.
And flying, what are some of the most breathtaking descents that you've seen? Which cities?
Well, there has been. It's always different. But last time when I flew from Washington to New York, I had a difficulty in the middle of the flight. Right. A helicopter came, so that I was losing part of the undercover of the wing. And you know what the engineers were telling me at this time when they got the pictures? They were surprised that the wing did not disintegrate yet. So it was a hot moment, but it turned out to be fine. But coming to Kennedy at 11 o'clock at night, with the airport completely blocked, in fact, for to receive this airplane in a safe way was very impressive. Because if you know Kennedy Airport with the traffic they have, it's very special. But it's also interesting to see that Kennedy would like us to go back with this airplane. It means that this experience, did not change their mind for this kind of project. So they are extremely also enthusiastic about pioneering projects.
That's great, yeah. And I know you go through a lot of preparation. You've gone through a lot of preparation for the long flights. Not only technically, but personally, mentally. What are some of the most useful preparations you've done, in your opinion? What are some of the things that you've done that have really helped you to handle those kind of difficult situations?
I do quite a lot of yoga, meditation and breathing techniques. And I was just doing a test in a decompression chamber, when in a chamber you artificially put you at very high altitude. By reducing the amount of air and oxygen in the chamber. And I tested different ways to breathe. And I saw that yogic breathing techniques are very helpful when you get to altitude of, for example, 6,000 meters. So that's the kind of training I'm using, testing, and trying to get integrated into our normal life in the airplane.
That's very interesting. There's a lot of questions. Of course, this is very exciting and brings a lot of attention to where solar power has gotten today. still we're far off from commercial solar airplanes. But what do you think is the sort of the next steps in that direction, and when do you think commercial solar airplanes might really be a possibility?
Well, we are far away, you're right, but we are very close to having solar commercial applications now. I mean, the market has gone through changes, heavy price reductions from big eastern countries. So it brings, in fact, the solar now at a level which is very close to the grid price. So that's very good news. Now for aviation, it will take time. It took 25 years for the Wright brothers to bring the possibility of Charles Lindbergh flying over the Atlantic. It took another 25 years for hundreds of people doing the same as Lindbergh. So I think we are a little bit in the same time scale there.
And
but if we don't start today, we will never be ready tomorrow.
And one of the one of the most I think exciting ideas I've seen out there are sort of hybrid planes, something like a Chevy Volt plane,
yeah,
for example, and using solar for some purposes that could really improve the efficiency of the plane. For example, startup. What do you think about that? Do you think that'll be the next logical step?
It certainly could be, because the electric motors have a very high efficiency. In this airplane, we have electric motors which have an efficiency from the current which gets into the motors to the power you have on the shaft. So for the entire system, on 94%. A thermal engine, a turbine that you have on an airplane have an efficiency of 30%. You lose 70% of the energy. So the way is clear. Now the question is more to find ways to store energy. So hybrid maybe is an intermediate kind of solutions, but certainly technologies will move into this direction.
A question for a friend of mine who's covered you a lot, Amber Archangel. She asks, will Solar Impulse 2 land at Moffett Airfield in California on the round the world trip?
Could be, because that's a place we like. That's a place we have been in Moffett last year. So we know that the reception is ready for us. So it will depend on the weather. I think this will determine really the route that we'll take from China crossing the Pacific. It's a very long flight, many days, many nights. And when you leave the coast of China, you don't know what the weather is on the other side. So of course, a big question mark. But we love to be there. Of course, we love the